So you are the first audience in New York City to see this film, Geraldine Ferraro, Paving the Way. It's a kind of missing chapter of our recent political history. It comes with the great insight of Geraldine's daughter, Director Donna Zaccaro. She didn't want to come up and say anything before the film, but she will be back afterwards for a Q&A. I know there's going to be a lot to talk about then. So without saying anything else, here it is, Geraldine Ferraro, Paving the Way. Please welcome the director, Donna Zaccaro. Jaded New York audiences don't often do that. Donna, it's not an easy decision to make a film about a family member, particularly one who's lived through contested times. Can you talk about the process for you in making the decision to do this film?
Well, as you know, and since we know just about everybody here, these are all my family's friends and my parents' friends and people that worked with her. I had worked in television for a decade, and then I also had worked on all her political campaigns except for that last 98 one. So I was really the right person to tell this story. And when she was at home for a year before she died, when she was incapacitated, I spent a lot of time with her. It was my father and my mother. My mother didn't want anyone besides my father or other family members taking care of her. So I decided to hire a camera crew and just get her story recorded. Now, of course, we spent a whole day talking. I think it was an 8-hour process. But, and I wish I had looked at it before she died, because I probably would have interviewed her again, because there are always things that you realize that you didn't ask. But I couldn't look at it for a while, until several months after she died. And then I said, you know, I need to do this. And I gave myself a year. And luckily, all those wonderful people that you saw that were interviewed in there gave me access. And in fact, President Bush had stopped giving interviews 6 months beforehand. So that was incredibly generous of him. And then I brought on board someone that I used to work with at NBC, who's still a very close friend, Janice DeRosa, who's also here to help me as co-producer. And then we worked with an incredibly talented editor, Andrew Morial. And they really helped with the biggest challenge. Andrew's here too. And he actually, I gave him I felt he produced it as well. But the biggest challenge was, you know, I was concerned that I was too close to it. And so they helped, you know, first of all, point out the things that I took for granted that people would want to see, but also just, you know, make sure that I was achieving some sort of balance. Because having been a journalist and wanting to have this be a historical document that's then used for educational purposes in perpetuity, hopefully, I felt that it needed to be balanced, and I did need to bring up all the attacks and all the, you know, the difficult stuff.
Let's take some questions from the audience. If you raise your hand, I'll call on you right here on the aisle.
I thought it was a wonderful film, and I think that about 5 years ago there was another female vice presidential candidate, if I recall correctly. And I'm wondering two things: whether you decided or thought anyway about any mention or inclusion of said candidate, and whether you care to share any opinions your mother had of said candidate.
The question, if you didn't hear it, referred to another female vice presidential candidate recently, and clearly that title, Paving the Way, must refer to Sarah Palin.
No. And no, I never, it's a good question, but I never gave it a thought to include her, because I really felt that this was my mother's story, and I wanted to show how she conducted herself during that campaign changed how people thought about what was possible for women, because in part too, because during their '98 Senate campaign, there was what was argued was that, well, she got the nomination, but they lost. So what did she really do? So I wanted to show that it actually made a huge difference, and that's my belief. And hopefully I showed you that too in the film.
Question was, what was the biggest challenge in making the film?
I think the biggest challenge was really looking at footage and photos of her and talking about her every day for a year. And, you know, as all of you know, how close our family is and how close I was to her, it was really hard. But I'm really glad I did it. So, emotionally it was difficult, but again, that's why I gave myself a year to do it. And I guess it probably then helps with the grieving process. I believe I've created something that will have her legacy endure, and I'm really happy about that.
This seems to me the extraordinary beauty of this. It's meta-political because it celebrates the power of partial victory. That your mother, in some sense, wasn't the winner in the way that we normally think of a winner as being in politics or our general life, but her win was that she did so much in never having achieved an actual win in the way that all of us define it.
But also, so that's another part of the story. There are a lot of stories here. There's her life story, there's the story of the '84 campaign, there's what she did afterwards. But I also really wanted this to be my father's story. And, as you know, he didn't give interviews during that campaign, and he was obviously, as she put it, so pummeled. And I wanted people to understand who he was too. I mean, it's also the immigrant story, the American story, the story of women. So, I mean, there are a lot of pieces to it. Where it goes from here, it's going to be in other festivals, another one in New York, and then some other around the country. And then it's going to air on Showtime during Women's History Month in March. So that's where it'll get its commercial airing. And then we're also selling it into libraries and schools, so I really do hope it'll be used as an educational tool. And I tried to make it, I tried to balance, as you so well put, the personal and the educational. So, can I didn't get a chance, I forgot when I came up here, to just thank everyone for coming, to thank you for having the film as part of the festival. DOC NYC has been great, and I really appreciate all of you that traveled to be here, and just all your love and support.
I was kind of blown away by how well balanced the film was, and I know that all of us who are a part of the campaign and who knew her over the years are absolutely going to want to see this. But I think I love the previous comment about bringing it to the schools, and I'm wondering, can you talk about, is there a website, is there ways that we can help make contributions to get into the schools?
So I have the best friends in the world, obviously. What can you do? We will put information on the website, and you're all on my email list. So, but the website is www.ferraropavingtheway.com. My contract with Showtime is such that there's a licensing period, and so we can't actually sell it. We can pre-sell it on iTunes when they air it, and then there's a lockout period. So schools can actually buy it, and libraries for the fall. So that's what you had to give up
Mark
for
your
it to be on
calendar.
Showtime. Yeah. So thank you again.
We're so proud to show this film. Thank you for coming. Thanks especially to Donna Zaccaro.